Hello everybody, Robin here. Welcome back to Toadstool Tarot. Today I'm doing a video response to Sylvain's Deadly Sins challenge, 7 decks for Deadly Sins. Now this was difficult for me to do. I didn't readily respond to all the prompts right off the cuff, but I did try really hard. Let's go through them. Number 1 is the sin of pride. Now, that was described as a deck for flexing. I'm not really sure what the term flexing is all about, but my sense of it is a deck whose challenges you met. A deck that challenged you, was difficult for you, and you met the challenge. And so you were proud that you did that. And for me, I guess it's more of a system than a deck. It would be the Tarot de Marseille, which initially was rather difficult for me. And the one that I chose out of all the Tarot de Marseille decks is the Tarot de Marsella Robledo by Pablo Robledo. This one is my favorite. I have maybe half a dozen Tarot de Marseille decks, and this is the one that I personally like the best. It's sort of my be-all, end-all Marseille deck. I like the coloring of it. I like the size format. I like the feel of the cards. I like the attitudes in the facial expressions. I generally have trouble with the coloring in Marseille decks, and I particularly like the colors in this one. Sin number 2 is greed. Decks you won't share with others. I didn't really have one. I mean, I'm not sure what they mean by share. I mean, I wouldn't probably let other people handle this deck, but I have no issue showing it to you if that's what they mean by share, to share it with other people so they can see it. I'm sharing it with you now. This, I don't have the box handy, but this one is the Royal Fez Moroccan. These are the backs. And it's very scarce and hard to find. So it's not focusing very well, I don't think. I paid a considerable sum off eBay to get hold of a copy of this. It follows the Rider-Waite Smith system. It's curious in that it's basically a black and white deck with some spot color. It seems almost like a deck that wasn't completed in the coloring. It's sort of unusual in that regard. Number 3 on the list is Wrath. Decks that anger you. This was tough too because I don't really have any decks that anger me. If they anger me, I get rid of them. But there was something in the formatting of this one that I'm not thrilled about. So it's the Little Monsters Tarot. First of all, I don't really like tuck boxes, and this one comes in just sort of a generic tuck box with some labels stuck on it. Not crazy about the packaging. I also have some difficulty with the cards because they're really too large to be used comfortably. But I absolutely love the imagery. It's like pen and ink, line work, fine line art. And if these cards had been more standard size, I probably would use them more. But as they're oversized and difficult to handle, I tend not to use them, which I guess angers me and falls into the sin of wrath. I think I heard that the first edition of this was a smaller size, but I haven't been able to find those anywhere. This is the second edition. These are larger than, this is probably out of print now too. I'm pretty sure it is. These are larger than standard tarot size. These are also awkwardly framed in these egg-shaped outlines, which I think the cards would be every bit as wonderful without the egg on them, just floating on white space. So those are the Little Monsters Tarot. Number 4 is Envy, deck you wanted that others had. Well, this again, I've misplaced the box. A lot of people love the Deviant Moon Tarot, and I don't own it, and I never was drawn to it. And then the Deviant Moon Paradoxical edition came out, and I was told it was limited to 500 copies. And I thought, if I don't get it, if I don't pre-order it, I will miss out. So I did, and I got hold of a copy. And I do like the coloring in it. I had an initial love for this alternate coloring. I still haven't completely embraced the images in this deck. I'm not sure currently how I feel about it, but I mean, it's definitely intriguing, and this odd alternate coloring is interesting. I have yet to buy the original version. I don't know if I ever will. I think it's not a deck I have yet to fully embrace. Sin number 5, I think. Yes. Which is Lust. Deck you chose for aesthetic reasons. That would be the Golden Art Nouveau Tarot. And the aesthetic reasons for choosing this deck are the beautiful colors, has a sort of an autumn wintry feel to it, and the gold bling on it. It's got gold foil embellishments on the cards. The depictions are very dramatic in a theatrical sort of way. It's RWS, but they're a little bit more close up. Like I said, they're sort of theatrically dramatic poses, renderings. And I'm kind of partial to the art of Alphonse Mucha or Musha, and I didn't really like the Mucha deck that came out. It was redrawn. It didn't use his original artwork. This one seems to emulate his style better, I think, than that one did, in a way. I mean, these are not Mucha illustrations, but it's very much in keeping with the Art Nouveau illustration style. Aesthetically, it's a very pretty deck. Next is Gluttony, number 6. Deck you didn't need but purchased anyway. This was the Tarot of Delphi. I'm not sure if I didn't need it and purchase it anyway. At the time I bought it, I felt like I needed it. I should probably say I wanted it rather than needed it. The cards are really pretty. But I do find that I don't, this sort of pre-Raphaelite or neoclassicism, neoclassic, stumbling over my words, neoclassic art. I do find that while it's a beautiful deck, I tend not to use it. It's more like a box of art cards in my collection, unfortunately. And it's out of print and goes for big money. I've been debating whether this is a deck that I should pass along to a loving home at a price, or whether once I did, I would regret doing that and not be able to afford to get hold of it again. So I've just been kind of in limbo with it. It just sort of sits in my collection. Maybe I'll come around to it at some point and use it more. They are beautiful images, beautiful cards. Just don't use them. And the last deadly sin is Sloth. A deck you use when you feel lazy. And here again, it's more a system than a deck. It's the RWS system, because, and it doesn't really much matter which version of the deck I use. It's more the system I have used this more than any other tarot, and so I'm more familiar with the images, the language of the system, and so it's a lazier deck for me to fall back to in doing readings. If I need quicker answers, I'm just more familiar with these images. I don't have to struggle quite as much interpreting them. So there you have my VR to 7 decks for deadly sins. A lot of people have responded to this challenge, and now I have to. Is there a sin for being late? Late to the party? If so, I guess I'm guilty of that sin. See you all soon.